This video lecture will cover intrapreneurship and entrepreneurship and how the unique value proposition of a product, service, or a company can lead to entrepreneurship. So let's define what is an entrepreneur. Many of you may know this definition, but it's an individual who undertakes risks associated with creating and organizing and owning a business. In other words, you've heard this phrase, I'm sure, many times. The entrepreneur is their own boss. Now, I would argue that that isn't necessarily true, because if you're selling or marketing a product or service and you're an entrepreneur, you do have bosses. They are your customers. But that's another topic. Essentially, you own a business, you risk, you create, you organize, and the key operative word is risk. If you notice this picture, this guy is on a tightrope and there's sharks beneath him. So that's what we're going to be looking at as far as what characteristics, what kind of person would be an entrepreneur. And they need to be persistent. They don't give up. At least they don't give up easily. They keep trying. Now, I should say that sometimes entrepreneurs get into trouble because they are emotionally involved with their business, because it's their quote unquote baby, if you will. And at times they stay too long in a business that's not working well. And so persistence is a key quality. It's an important quality. Entrepreneurs must have it, but keep in mind that it can work against them. They need to be creative. They need to be looking at ways of doing things, developing solutions and problems. And that's why entrepreneurs get involved in a business, because they feel like they can make a difference. They have, which we will cover later in this lecture, that they have identified their unique value proposition, at least their business's UVP, as we will call it. And that's in that way, they've looked for ways to do new things, develop solutions, shift paradigms, if you will. A paradigm is a set of rules that we all follow. And the paradigms are set for certain industries. And entrepreneurs are looking for ways to shift those paradigms. And so the other thing is they need to be responsible. They have to do what they have to do, and they need to be accountable to themselves. And they don't have a boss looking over their shoulders. They are their own boss, for the most part anyway, and they are holding themselves accountable. No one's making them get out of bed in the morning. No one's making them, start their workday. They're doing it because it's their business. They're responsible. So that's a key, characteristic of an entrepreneur. And lastly, they need to be inquisitive. They ask questions. They seek answers. They're curious. And they have to be, because they are so involved in their own business. Part of that is asking questions, trying to improve, talking to others, benchmarking other businesses. That's what a really good entrepreneur must do. So these are 4 qualities or characteristics that an entrepreneur must have. They must have all of these, actually, to be effective. Now, other characteristics are they need to be goal-oriented. They're focused on developing a plan. They have goals. Not everybody, is really good at setting 5-year goals. But an entrepreneur has this in their mind. They say, in 5 years, I expect to grow this much, and I expect to achieve this much. And so entrepreneurs must be goal oriented. It's really part of their the characteristics that make them successful. They don't just wing it, in other words, every day and hope for the best. And they're independent. I mentioned there already that they must rely on themselves, and they work alone. And I don't know how many of you have had to work alone. And COVID made a lot of people work alone. So they were sent home. They worked from their homes, and a lot of people found it wasn't that easy to do because there was distractions everywhere. There's the television. There's kids. There's things are coming at you from your personal space, and it's difficult for some people to do that, and sometimes you adjust to it and you get better at it, but being independent, working alone is not that easy to do for a lot of people, but it's an essential characteristic of an entrepreneur. They have to be able to work alone and not be distracted. And another huge characteristic that this should be emphasized probably in bolder letters is they must be self-confident. They have to believe in their abilities. As I mentioned previously, sometimes entrepreneurs are too self-confident and they have an idea that they follow it all the way. And sometimes they shouldn't. Sometimes a business person needs to know when something is not working and they need to either retool it or do something else. Sometimes entrepreneurs don't have that ability and they're so self-confident and they believe in their abilities that they will keep chasing a dream to the point where it's not making sense anymore. But that's the balancing act. You have to have that self-confidence, but how much? And that's the question. And another area that probably should be emboldened here is risk-taking. That is of the characteristics of a entrepreneur, that's probably number one. That's probably first on the list. They're all important. I'm not going to weight them necessarily, but that is probably the most important characteristic. Because you're taking risks. You're taking risks with your own money. You're taking risks with your own time. There's opportunity costs associated with spending all your time on a project or your business. And by opportunity cost, I mean that's the cost of what you could be doing. You could be working within an organization with a job and making money, but as an entrepreneur, you're spending all your time, trying to build your business, and that's the opportunity cost. You could be leaving money on the table. After 5 years, you might have made more as an employee of a company. But then again, that's the mindset and the behavior and the characteristics that a entrepreneur must have. They must be risk takers. Hopefully they're risking just their own money and not their family's money, which is another matter. They keep borrowing money from family because, like I said before, they're so persistent, they're so driven, and they have emotional involvement with the business. They borrow money from family members and things like that. So that's where it can go a little too far. So how does entrepreneurship and leadership, how do they connect? Innovative entrepreneurs can create disruptions that revolutionized their industries. I mentioned paradigm shifts. Think about let's just really focus on Uber now. Think about how that came about. It came about, it was made to be possible by technology and by GPS. So that allowed this disruption, this paradigm shift to take place. And the paradigm shift, the old set of rules was taxi cabs. The new set of rules was a way to order a ride and have predictability, be able to pay online, know the price before you book it. These are factors that led to, and the factors because of frustration that led to the paradigm shift of Uber. Now, since Uber's come out, taxi cabs have adjusted in a lot of ways to Uber, but still, it was a major disruption, and they harnessed technology, and the intellectual capital was really the idea that they had. Now, I'm going to focus you on a new term. So we have entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship. What's the difference? And there is the entrepreneurship may be a term you have not heard before. It's not nearly as common as the term entrepreneur. So let's look at the difference. An entrepreneur is someone who is working in a business, in a company. They're a manager, they're an employee of some kind within a company. So let's look at the difference. An entrepreneur is focused on their own activity. The intrapreneur uses entrepreneurial activity within a business. And then if you go to point number 2, and this is the key one here, with an entrepreneur, rewards go to the entrepreneur. Whatever you create, you receive the rewards of. With an intrapreneur, the rewards go to the company. So let's go to the bottom one, and I'll put these all together. With an entrepreneur, the risk is taken by the entrepreneur. With an intrapreneur, the risk is taken by the company. So we have risk and rewards here. It's more with an entrepreneur, it's more direct. Whatever they do, they get. It can be instantly, it can be over time, but all the rewards go to them. With an intrapreneur, you are also taking risks, you're creating, you're doing things within a company, and the rewards go to the company, and the risk is taken by the company. However, keep this in mind, that when I say rewards, I mean you're also getting rewards as an intrapreneur. If you're successful within a company, you're creating, you're innovating, you're shifting paradigms, you're doing things, you're consistent, and you're doing have a lot of the characteristics that an entrepreneur has as far as your mindset, you do get rewarded. And that could be in the form of promotions, raises, things like that. So there's less direct rewards, but you still get rewards. And you're taking risks, but not all the risks are held by the company with an entrepreneur. If you risk the company's assets and you fail, that doesn't look good on you. It doesn't cost you money personally, but it can look bad for you. So the entrepreneur acts like an entrepreneur, but within a company's framework. And this slide will help develop this a bit more. The entrepreneurship, I should say, is a system that allows the employee to act like an entrepreneur within an organization. Okay, keep that in mind. The successful employee who rises up the ranks, gets promoted, rises to the top of the organization is really an employee that acts like an entrepreneur. And they're creating, they're doing, they're driving things forward. Not everybody's good at this. I can tell you this, and you probably know this. Entrepreneurs are also self-motivated and proactive. They're action-oriented, just like entrepreneurs. They have leadership skills and they think outside the box. So let's look at these two circles. And these two circles merge, or they have a common area, and that's right in the middle, where both entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs innovate and lead. And you look at the basically you look at these terms here, and you can kind of compare them. And so you have your company's resources within entrepreneurship. You're still risking, but you are creating you're creating value, and your main challenge in any entrepreneurial effort is you've got a company culture that you have to deal with, and the company culture can deny a lot of what you want to do within a business. And you've got some of you who work for businesses have probably recognized that. So these are just some of the common, and the you can sort of compare and contrast the two styles that way. But just keep in mind that an entrepreneur is the term we know. They're risking, they're creating, they're persistent, they're self-starters, all those things. But a successful employee that rises up in the ranks, that gets promoted, has a lot of those same skill sets. They're just not risking their own money. That's really probably the main difference. And they don't quite have the same level of freedom, because they are held back by the company's culture in a way. Now, I'm going to mention something to you. There's the why statement that a lot of businesses need to pay attention to. That the why statement is why we exist. And businesses know what they do. They all know what they do. They know how they do it. But like, for example, let's take Walmart. They know what they do. They're a worldwide, retailer. And it's what they do. They know how they do it. They do it through state-of-the-art distribution systems, through many stores, and huge big box stores. But why do they do what they do? Why does when a Walmart senior manager looks in the mirror in the morning, do they see somebody who just extorts their vendors for the lowest price possible? Then they drive their other competitors out of business by using the lowest price model? Is that why they do what they do? And I would argue that's not why they do what they do. That is the essential result of what they do. But if you look at a truck on the freeway, it'll give you the why statement for Walmart. It'll say, save money, live better. What they're basically telling the world is that our audiences save money. Okay, we know that. They're the low price leader on a lot of products. They have a predatory practices in order to get there sometimes. But then it says live better. So that's their why statement. So every business has a why statement. Starbucks knows what they do. They know how they do it. We all know what and how they do, because we're there all the time, right? A lot of you are. but their why statement is to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, one neighborhood at a time. That's their why statement. It's a little clunky, but that's what it is. And then you have this one down here is to make a contribution to the world by making tools for the mind to advance humankind. And this would be Microsoft. So it's also very clunky. The best why statements are very short and to the point, and it's a written expression of how the company's values, beliefs, and vision. And it sets the tone for the entire organization. Everywhere you look at Walmart, it says save money, live better. It doesn't just say save money. Live better is the aspirational that part of the why statement, which is really important. I'm going to introduce a couple more concepts that entrepreneurs need to be very aware of. One is the lead and lag measurements. Most businesses operate from lag measurements. The lag measurement is the results after the activity has passed. In other words, the end of the quarter sales figures or the end of the year sales figures. That's the lag measurement. You can't do anything about it because it's already happened. So you look at the lag, that's the lag measurement. But the lead measurements are all those inputs that affect the lag measurement over the given period of time. And so with the business, it might be employee satisfaction scores that come in, surveys that come in. It might be the performance of given products on a given day that, what some products are up, some products are down, some products are trending poorly. And we need to be really mindful of the lead. The lead measurements are levers that drive the lag measurement. And so they are as you scroll down here, the lead measures track the critical activities that drive or lead to the lag measurement. And probably the most basic example I can share here of between lead and lag measurements are weight loss. So let's say you're on a diet, as most of us are at some point, right? You're trying to lose 15, 20 pounds, sometimes more. The lag measurement is when you step on the scale at the end of the month. You go, God, did I lose weight? That's the lag measurement. So do we operate from the lag measurement or do we operate from the lead measurement? Lead measurements are, I'm going to exercise more every day. I'm going to walk more. I'm going to lift weights. I'm going to do things like that. And also I'm going to, more importantly, probably cut calories or cut carbs or whatever. Those would be the daily lead that the lead measures the lever that pushes the lag measurement. So businesses, the reason I bring this up is because, and want to discuss it, because businesses sometimes operate from lag measurements, and they really should be developing lead measurements or levers that affect the lag measurement and really be focused on them. And then it's sort of like you're playing a game, and the final score is the lag measurement, but the measures were everything that were leading up to that lag measurement. So back to the bottom point here, the lead influences future performance. The lag analyzes past performance. So where do you want to be focusing your efforts and your attention during a given period of time? But probably you should be focused on the lead measurements, and then maybe you'll be happy with the lag measurements once you evaluate that. Last point I wanted to make, last concept, is the unique value proposition. Entrepreneurs need to need to really be focused on their unique value proposition, or we call it the UVP. What is it? So first of all, the business has to know what they provide, who their audience is, why, how do they differ, what's in it for me with them. Always got to be thinking about that as in terms of the customer. So we got 3 balls here. I'm going to explain this by breaking it down. You have your prospects' desires up here. This is your customers, your prospects, your target audience. This is what they want. This is what they expect and want. This is really what they desire. Then this ball on the left is what your competitor offers, and also you offer as well. The whole industry offers these things. These are called, this is what you offer. This ball is what you only offer, your business's specific, the benefits you offer your customer. So there are some areas where we have some intersection here. The points of parity are what your prospect wants and expects, what your industry offers, include your competitors and you, and then also you offer those as well. So you have this section right here. I'm going to put it in terms of a hotel, for example. A hotel, there are points of parity that your audience really expects, like clean, comfortable beds, clean rooms, well-stocked bathrooms, with towels and everything like that. A good smell in the room. Those would be things they would want and expect. A quiet stay, not noisy. We call those points of parity. Everybody offers them or says they offer them at least. These do not set you apart, but you have to have these because your prospects expect them. And again, this is that little section where everybody, where your competitors, you, and your customer all intersect right there. But then there's another section where only you and your prospects will intersect. And we're going to look at a hotel again. What is it that your hotel offers that your competitors cannot offer? One of them might be you have the best location for business and for travel. You have a great location. It's in a great spot, really good view, and it's not that far from the airport. Your differentiator is your location. Your competitors can't copy that because their hotel does not occupy that. You all offer clean beds, clean rooms, and all that kind of stuff, but only you can offer the best location. So that's your point of differentiation. Now, sometimes businesses get into trouble because they have not really accurately defined their points of differentiation. They think they have a point of differentiation, but it's really not. Your customer doesn't care that much. So let's say your audience is business travelers for the hotel business. A point of irrelevance could be, okay, we have the most historic hotel. We have the oldest hotel. It was built in the early 1900s, and it's really got a cool historic vibe, and it's the most historic hotel. You think it's a point of differentiation. You think it's what the customers want, but really these are business travelers. What they really want is they want a lot of outlets in the room. They want a lot of electrical outlets. They want good Wi-Fi. That's really important to them. The historic nature of the property, if it doesn't have good Wi-Fi or a lot of outlets or ports for their phones and for their computers, it doesn't mean anything to them. It's irrelevant. And then what if the hotel is advertising these points to their prospects, it falls flat. So it's important to understand the points of parity that everyone offers, how you differentiate meaningfully, but then be mindful of the points of relevance. This last slide looks at a little more of an explanation here. The points of parity are benefits you share with your competitors. They're important, but you don't need to focus on them. You might mention them in certain descriptions and on your website, etc., but don't dwell on them because they don't separate you at all. Everyone offers them, or they say they offer them. These points will not they're appealing to a customer, but they're not going to separate you. That is not why they're staying with you, because everybody offers them. It's like a coffee shop saying they offer hot coffee. Everyone offers that. That is not a differentiator. The points of differentiation, though, is where you win the game. That was where only you have features that your customers want or your prospects want, and your competitors can't necessarily offer them as well as you do. And these are what makes your experiences unique and valuable. This is what you really want to lead with. You want to reinforce with images, descriptions, anything else that you can use. This is what you lead with. Your points of parity are important to the customer, but you don't lead with those. You mention them, but don't lead with them. And this is, again, you get into trouble here. You may be proud that you're the newest business. You may have the latest equipment. You may have the historic hotel. But if your prospects don't care, it's irrelevant. And the only way you can really determine this is probably by researching, understanding your customers as well as you can. So we've covered the entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship. We've covered the why statement and in the what, how, and why. We've covered the lead and lag measurements, the importance of those, and then we covered the UVP, unique value proposition, how to get to that. All of these affect entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship. So thank you for listening.